What if the place everyone thought they understood was never finished telling its story? In 2025, a crime scene long considered closed is being reopened, not by police tape or flashing lights, but by data. The oil site where Chris Watts carried out his final acts has returned to the spotlight, not as memory, but as evidence reborn. Every movement, every minute, every silent gap is being replayed through a digital lens, and what emerges challenges the simplicity of what we were told before. This is not a retrial in a courtroom. It's a digital trial, where satellite images, GPS metadata, time-stamped logs, and reconstructed timelines act as witnesses. Technology that didn't speak loudly enough years ago is now raising questions that refuse to stay buried. The oil site wasn't just a destination. It was a sequence of decisions, pauses, and actions that left behind a trail more precise than any confession. For years, the narrative felt settled. A confession. A sentence. An ending. But data doesn't feel closure. It only records. And when that data is re-examined with modern tools, patterns begin to surface, patterns that suggest the timeline may not be as clean, or as linear, as once believed. What happened there wasn't just about where, but when, how long, and why certain moments unfolded the way they did. As we begin this digital reconstruction, you're not just watching a story, you're stepping into the role of observer, analyst, and jury. If you believe truth deserves to be examined from every angle, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to The Hidden Verdict. Your support keeps these deeper investigations alive. Because once you strip away assumptions and let the data speak, the oil site stops being silent. And what it reveals may change how this case is understood forever.
And this polygraph failed it. There, because there's too much emotion. So I mean, they're not gonna let me go. Is there any reason why they shouldn't? How much of them paid? They know I had an affair. And they know. I can't complain about that. They know you had an affair. Anything else you want to tell me? What's going on? Or what happened or anything? If you know anything about it? When we had that conversation that morning, it was emotional. It was told her about separation and everything like that.
What happened after that?
I mean, I went downstairs and
a maximum sentence would be appropriate, and anything less than the maximum sentence would depreciate the seriousness of this offense. So the court is going to sentence Mr. Watts as follows. With regard to count number 1, murder in the first degree as it relates to Shanann Watts, the court is going to sentence you, sir, to a life sentence in the Colorado Department of Corrections, followed with no possibility of parole. And that is going to run consecutively to all but counts 3 and 4. With regard to count 2, as it relates to murder in the first degree with Bella, the court is going to sentence you to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole. With regard to count number 3, the court is going to sentence you as it relates to Celeste to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole.
The oil site itself was once treated as a static location, a place where something terrible ended. But when viewed through modern digital analysis, it becomes something else entirely, a moving timeline. In 2025, investigators, analysts, and independent researchers began revisiting the site using tools that were either unavailable or underutilized at the time. Satellite imagery sharpened. GPS data was resynced. Worksite logs were re-examined minute by minute. And suddenly, the site began telling a more detailed story. The digital trail shows arrivals and departures not just as events, but as durations. How long a vehicle idled. When doors opened. Where pauses occurred. These are not assumptions, they are data points. And when laid out in sequence, they reveal gaps that raise new questions. Why did certain actions take longer than expected? Why were there moments of inactivity where none were accounted for? The oil site, once seen as straightforward, now appears layered with decisions that unfolded over time. What's striking is how technology reframes intent. Data doesn't speculate, but it does expose behavior. The timestamps don't argue innocence or guilt, they show opportunity, movement, and choice. In some cases, they contradict the simplicity of earlier explanations. In others, they reinforce the calculated nature of what took place. Either way, the picture becomes more complex. As you follow this reconstruction, you're invited to do more than listen. Do these timelines make sense to you? Do the movements align with what you believed before? Leave a comment with your thoughts, because this digital trial isn't about rewriting history, it's about understanding it more completely. And if this deeper look is changing how you see the case, take a moment to like and share this video. Because when evidence is revisited with clearer tools, even places long left behind can reveal truths that were always there, waiting to be seen.
Are you serious?
Serious.
Hell yeah! Oh my goodness!
Cece got her ice.
June 7th. Oh my goodness, I gotta take that day off and the day after off. Hell yeah!
Beyond the physical movements at the oil site, there is another layer of evidence that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Digital behavior. In 2025, analysts began focusing not just on where Chris Watts went, but on how his digital footprint behaved before, during, and after his time at the site. Phone activity, vehicle telemetry, step data, and communication gaps were laid out side by side with the physical timeline, creating a behavioral map that speaks volumes without a single word. What stands out immediately is not what appears, but what disappears. Periods of silence. Moments where expected activity simply isn't there. Phones that stop moving. Systems that pause and then resume. In digital forensics, absence can be as revealing as action. These gaps suggest focus, intention, and moments where attention was fully occupied elsewhere. When matched against the oil site timeline, they begin to align in unsettling ways. Vehicle data adds another dimension. Speed changes, idle time, and route consistency all help reconstruct what happened second by second. This is not speculation, it is recorded behavior. And when compared to statements and confessions, the digital evidence doesn't just support or contradict, it reframes. It shows a man operating within a narrow window of calculated control, adjusting his behavior in response to time and environment. This is where the digital trial becomes personal for the viewer. You're no longer watching events unfold, you're interpreting them. What do these silences mean? Why do certain actions cluster around specific moments? If data is impartial, what story is it telling here? If you find yourself questioning earlier assumptions, you're not alone. Take a moment to like this video if this analysis is opening new perspectives, and share it with others who believe evidence should always be examined closely. Because in the digital age, behavior leaves traces, and those traces rarely lie.
Further. Okay, turn around, face me. No earrings, necklaces, anything like that? Okay. Let's walk up this way. Go straight. Go out that door to your left. Have a seat.
As the digital evidence comes into focus, it also casts a harsh light on the limits of the original investigation. This is not a question of failure, but of timing. In 2018, investigators worked under immense pressure, with tools that prioritized speed and certainty over exhaustive digital reconstruction. Confessions carried weight. Technology had boundaries. And once a narrative formed, certain paths were no longer fully explored. Re-examining the oil site through modern analysis reveals how assumptions can quietly shape conclusions. Timelines were accepted because they felt reasonable. Gaps were explained because there was urgency to resolve the case. But now, when digital footprints are layered over those assumptions, inconsistencies begin to surface, not dramatic contradictions, but subtle misalignments that suggest parts of the story were simplified. This is where the idea of a digital trial becomes most uncomfortable. It asks whether truth is something we discover once, or something we refine over time. The data does not accuse, but it does question. It highlights moments where evidence could have been interpreted differently if today's tools had been available then. It shows how easily human explanations can overshadow machine-recorded behavior. As you absorb this part of the story, consider what justice means in an era where evidence evolves. Does a closed case remain closed when new clarity emerges? Or does truth demand revisiting, no matter how settled it seems? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation doesn't end with a verdict. It deepens with understanding. If this perspective matters to you, make sure to like and share this video. Because when technology advances, it doesn't erase the past, it sharpens it, forcing us to look again at what we thought we already knew.
And I'm getting ready. My mother-in-law's here today, so she flew in to spend 2 weeks with the girls, and her and my father-in-law are going to babysit the kids while we are in Punta Cana. So I'm really excited. We're gonna go to the store and wander around a little bit today. So you're here with me getting ready because it's a busy day for me. Have to finalize our taxes today, so that's gonna be to get that out of the way before we leave. So good morning, Christina. Sorry, I'm getting ready. Hey, Mandy. You gotta exfoliate. Best exfoliator for your lips ever. So I wanted to come on here to get ready and talk to you guys because a lot has happened this past year. And this day last year, I made the biggest decision that I made in a long time, and that was to officially make my initial purchase with Lavelle. Hey, Michelle. So today marks 1 year anniversary for my Thrive experience. And I can't believe it because I almost forgot. Like, I forget what month we're in. So this time last year, I was a free customer for a little over a month with my buddy Mandy. And I finally said, okay, I had enough with the way I felt, and it was time for me to make a change. And I know that I was a skeptic for 14 months. I was the worst friend ever to Mandy. Sorry, the lighting's horrible in here. Morning, Sarah. So I was the worst friend. I ignored her posts. I ignored her text messages. I ignored anything she had mentioned about Thrive. I pretty much ignored her. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm a little bit away from the phone. If I can get ready properly. So anyway, so I was the worst friend whatsoever with Mandy. And she basically didn't give up on me. She knew my struggles. She knew, you know, what I was going through, like health-wise. You know, I had 2 kids, brand new mom still. Even though my daughter's 3, I'm still a brand new mom. So like it was just a lot on me, and I was working 2 jobs, one full-time, one part-time. So I was working about 60 hours a week and still a stay-at-home mom all day long. So I was really exhausted. Exhausted, tired, drained. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think straight. Look at the eyebrows. I have them now.
In the end, the oil site is no longer just a location tied to a finished case. In the digital age, it becomes a record, one that continues to speak long after the headlines fade. The Reexamined data does not seek to overturn a verdict or rewrite history, but it does something just as important: it challenges certainty. It reminds us that truth is not frozen in time, even when a case is officially closed. The digital trial shows how evidence can mature. Satellite images grow clearer. Metadata becomes more precise. Behavioral patterns emerge where once there were only assumptions. And with that clarity comes responsibility, not just for investigators, but for all of us who consume these stories. Are we satisfied with simple answers, or are we willing to sit with complexity when the data demands it? This case forces a larger question: what happens when technology outpaces justice? When new tools reveal details that were invisible before, does the system adapt, or does it resist? The oil site stands as a reminder that places remember more than people do. Data doesn't forget. It waits. As this digital reconstruction closes, one thing becomes clear: the pursuit of truth doesn't end with a confession or a sentence. It continues through re-examination, skepticism, and the willingness to ask uncomfortable questions. That is what a digital trial represents, not a replacement for justice, but an extension of it. If this journey changed how you see the case, let your voice be part of the discussion. Like this video, comment with your perspective, and share it with others who believe evidence deserves a second look. And subscribe to The Hidden Verdict, where forgotten data finds a voice and the past is never accepted without question.
You want to do squats? You want to squat with mommy? Okay, let's do our squats. Ready? Watch this. Squat. Go ahead, squat. Squat. Ooh. Good job, Cece. Do it again. Squat again. Ready? Up. Up. Squat. Squat, Cece. Oh, good job, Cece. I don't know, baby. Squat. 1, 2, 3. Ready? Squat again. Ready? Good squatting, Cece. Can you do this, Cece? Hey, squat run. Here, squat run. Cece. Cece, come squat run. Bring her here. Okay, we'll play Minnie. Can you turn her around? Bella, stop. Cece wants to play with this. You have to share, remember? Put her down. Yep, Cece. Cece. Look, Cece. Celeste. Is she doing split? Uh-oh, Bella, pick her up. Watch out, Cece. Push her bow. Touch her bow. Touch her bow. There you go. Watch out, Cece. Don't pull her, Bella. Minnie? Here, we'll touch her bow. Ready? She's coming. Thanks, Kendall. Hey, wait, don't touch her. We need a play date, Kendall. Ready? Wait, Bella. Bella, let her. Bella. Let Cece go, please. Cece, squat run. Squat run. Squat run. No, no, not squat. Look, Cece. Look at mommy. Cece. Cece. Celeste. Look, there you go. Squat run. Cece squat runs. Go, Cece. Are you squat running?
Weeks, and we got back Monday or Tuesday, and then she flew out to Arizona Friday morning, and then she got back last night about 2 a.m. The flight got delayed. She left about 11. She got here at 2.
Okay.
And I went to work this morning about 5:15, 5:30.
What do you do?
I work at oil and gas Anadarko.
What do you do for them?
Operator.
Oh. Long days then?
Yeah, I'd definitely still be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a long day, especially in that heat.
The arguments made by the attorneys, the court has considered the statements made by the victims in this case. The court's going to find that the plea agreement is fair and reasonable under the circumstances. I want to acknowledge the Rusick family as well as the Watts family that showing mercy on Mr. Watts is understood, and I respect that decision to request that the district attorney not seek the death penalty in this case. And so the court is going to accept this plea bargain under the circumstances. Words that come to mind when I hear the evidence in this case are a senseless crime and the viciousness of the crime. And equally aggravating in this court's determination is the despicable act of disposing of the bodies in the manner in which they were done in this case. I've been a judicial officer now for starting my 17th year, and I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen. And nothing less than a maximum sentence would be appropriate, and anything less than the maximum sentence would depreciate the seriousness of this offense. So the court is going to sentence Mr. Watts as follows. With regard to count number 1, murder in the first degree as it relates to Shanann Watts, the court is going to sentence you, sir, to a life sentence in the Colorado Department of Corrections, followed with no possibility of parole. And that is going to run consecutively to all but counts 3 and 4. With regard to count 2, as it relates to murder in the first degree with Bella, the court is going to sentence you to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole. With regard to count number 3, the court is going to sentence you as it relates to Celeste to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole. With regard to counts 4 and 5 relating to Bella and Celeste as a different theory of first-degree murder, the court is going to sentence you to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections, and legally those sentences must run concurrently as a different theory of first-degree murder. Recognizing the unlawful termination of pregnancy for the unborn child that has been named Nico, the court absolutely believes that the maximum sentence of 48 years would be appropriate to run consecutive to the other charges, with an additional mandatory parole period of 3 years as set forth by statute. With regard to count number 7, as it relates to tampering with a deceased body, as well as counts 8 and 9, each a class 3 felony, the court is going to impose a maximum sentence of 12 years each for those counts to run consecutively to the other counts. The court is going to order that the statutory fees be paid and court costs. The court's going to grant the prosecution 91 days to file a notice of restitution, and that will be the sentence of the court.